Okay, just to let everyone know that I will be recording this session, God willing it works, with flaky Wi-Fi, etc., that I've been experiencing since 7 o'clock this morning. I'm going to hand over to Keith Rowley, the HCSA Chief.
Can you hear me all right, Tracy? It's just checking the connection. Welcome, everybody. It's amazing to be here doing this today. Apologies if the invites were a little bit sort of last minute and stuff, but I think from my perspective, it's a really great opportunity. We're very excited. I think about a year or so ago, we started talking about putting a women in procurement network together, and sort of a year on or so from that, we're all here on the call. I can see there's about 74, 75 people on this call, which is fantastic. I know various people have been involved in kind of trying to get this off the ground and put it together, which is amazing. So thanks to them for all their work, and hopefully this is a start of a really good development in terms of trying to support the agenda we've set out in HCSA to try and be more inclusive on a number of levels. And this is kind of a bit of a starter to trying to cover the women agenda in terms of that inclusion, but we also want to look at others as we move forward. So hopefully this presents a bit of a model of how we could look at some of those other inclusivity topics that we need to try and tackle as a function. But great to see so many of you on. And hopefully this is a start of a really positive agenda. I know the team are going to give you updates on other things that are going to be happening over the course of the year, so I'll try not to steal their thunder and I'll leave them to cover that. But just amazing. I think we're up about 80 odd people now, so that's fantastic. Really, really exciting, and thanks for everybody for coming and joining this call at such short notice to get involved in the programme.
Thank you, Keith. Clara's going to take us through our initial focus areas, and then we will introduce you to the wider committee.
Okay. Hi all, thank you for attending. Welcome to our Women's Network launch. I'd just like to add, we are the first NHS organisation representing women in procurement and logistics. I think that's fantastic. Very, very much overdue, but lots of exciting themes and projects to come. So for those who don't know me, I think everyone does. I'm Clara Pennell, Deputy Chief Officer at the HCSA. So first on our agenda is the 4 key areas of initial focus. So number 1 is educate. So we'll be focusing around unconscious bias, women's health and mentoring. Number 2 is support, so allies in the network and how we widen the reach, supporting all colleagues across procurement and supply chain. A key focus of that is recognising talent and leadership of the next generation of procurement professionals. There's a lot of work to do there, but I think with the network and the committee and the work and the themes we're focusing on, I think that'd be really, really great to celebrate. Obviously, we want to share all the good work and stuff we do and actively promote as role models. So while we have some issues and themes that are, some may say, challenging and difficult to approach, let's also celebrate where we have made good progress and impact with our colleagues across NHS procurement. And lastly, recruitment and retention. So focusing and supporting frontline colleagues facing these challenges. Tracy, do you want to add anything to that very quick summarise and welcome?
Yes, I think thank you very much for everyone coming in at the 11th hour. We were a little nervous, I think, Clara and I think we've got some amazing work to do together across the network. I think this is an absolutely wonderful platform for everyone in procurement and in supply chain to reach out, build the network, build confidence, and in Pia Larson's terms, lift as we climb through our careers. So welcome, everybody. I'd like to introduce each of our committee members, and if they wouldn't mind, I don't know where you are on the screen because there are so many people and lovely faces, but I'll ask Pia Larson, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and where you are for those who don't know you?
Yes, so I'm Pia Larson. I'm Director of Procurement and Supply Chain at UCLH. I also am the founder and co-chair of the UCLH Women's Network. And it was also the first network that we formed at UCLH as well, which then sprung and springboarded new networks as well. So I'm a huge fan and a big, big advocate of gender equality. So nice to see you all.
Thank you. Kath Ibbotson.
Afternoon, everybody. It's Kath Ibbotson, HCSA Business Support. Been in the NHS for a long time, so great to see this group getting off the ground and looking forward to how we can take it forward.
Andrea Smith.
Hi, Andrea Smith, Procurement Director at Sheffield Teaching, and I'm also the ICS Procurement Director in South Yorkshire. And I'm joined today by lots of South Yorkshire colleagues. So great to see the Yorkshire posse on the network, and I'm sure it's going to be really great, and hoping for a really good event that we'll hear more about. Thank you.
Nicola Harrington.
Yeah, afternoon all. So I'm Nicola Harrington. I'm the Procurement Director on the NHS Supply Chain contract, actually working for DHL. So I've been with the organisation for about 14 years. For the last 5 years, I've been leading the gender network for DHL, and then 3 years ago, I took over as the UKI lead for the whole of diversity and inclusion. So last year, we launched 3 networks: LGBTQ+, gender, and also race. So thoroughly love everything that I've been doing in this space, and looking forward to really supporting this as we go forward.
Fantastic. Lucy Jagger. Hoping Lucy's on, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Beth Loudon is also part of our committee and unfortunately isn't able to attend today, but I do know that Rachel Colley's on the line.
I am. Good afternoon, everyone. Rachel Colley, Procurement Director for Pathology and Therapy Services, NHS Supply Chain. Currently working with the Keys, so shortlisted to be moving to supply chain, and really pleased to have the opportunity to be part of this amazing network. And, you know, echo Keith's comments. Wow, didn't expect 80+ people on the meeting today. So looking forward to the discussion topics.
Bruce Ackland is on our committee. He is on.
Hello.
You are there somewhere. I know you are.
I am. I'm here. Sorry, I didn't realise I was on the actual committee. I thought I just did comms everything. But
You
I'm
don't
delighted.
just do anything. You are part of our team.
Wonderful, wonderful. The landing page is ready. It's up at the moment. It's in the WhatsApp group. If you go to the HCSA website and just go to About Us on the menus page, if you go on the drop down, there's a drop down menu for Women in Procurement for Women's Network. If you click through to that, there's a initial landing page that really just kind of outlines initial terms with the group. There's a bit of a gallery on there, and that's a very sort of fluid page that we can add whatever anyone thinks to it. But that's the initial landing page, which will be circulated on social this afternoon, but also in the newsletter, which will go out on Friday as normal.
Bruce has hopefully got a little bit of a slot later on, and he can maybe lift that landing page up and give us all a little walk through it. That would be wonderful. Pav Devsey.
Hi everyone, I'm Pad Devsey. I'm the Director of Procurement for 3 Mental Health and Community Trusts in North East London and North Central London. And also, similar to I think quite a few colleagues on the call, really passionate about this agenda, and also founded and now co-chair the Women's Network at NELFT. So yeah, hopefully you can see lots and lots of really good work happen with this, and thank you all for being here today.
Sue Colbeck. You're not on the call today. Emma James is on the call. I can see those lovely ruby lips there.
Oh, I've gone all red today for you.
Gone all red today for you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma James. I'm the Director of Procurement and Supply Chain here at Nottingham University Hospitals Trust. Very passionate about women in procurement and supply chain, and happy to bore anybody for a good half an hour about it if you give me the opportunity, and really pushing and supporting HCSA around their EDI agenda, as I think it's something we can all contribute to and support. So hi, and great to see everybody.
I'd also like to introduce Melanie Whiteside, as she supports us in the background, but she's not in the background because she's part of our committee and she's helping to support the network. So Melanie?
Hi everybody. Yeah, very new to HCSA business support, but if I can help with anything, just please let me know.
And I'm Tracy Crammond. Those of you who don't know me, I am a commercial advisor for NHS Shared Business Services. I'm also the regional coordinator for the North East for the HCSA, as well as the National Scan for Safety representative. And I'm now duly appointed chair of this fantastic network that I am so excited. I think I've been shaking in my boots about having this call today. So I'm super excited to see over 91 people on this call. So thank you and welcome. And let's lift as we climb and have a fantastic journey and do some amazing work over the next 12 months plus. I'm going to pass over to Clara, who's going to walk us through our terms of reference. We will have the terms of reference on our webpage as fast as Bruce is building our webpage, bless him. So I'll hand over to Clara.
Thank you. Okay, so the term, just before, are we sharing the screen for our terms of reference, or do you want me to just talk through it? I'll talk through it. Let's do it like that. So the committee member and myself included as exec sponsor for the committee member. And just to add, Faye, did I miss this? Were you introduced as a trustee sponsor for the committee, Women's Network Committee?
No, so hello everybody.
Faye,
Faye Robinson. I've kind of a wide role in our organisation. I'm exec director of integrated health and care services. Anyone will know me. I've been associated with the HCSA for probably 30 odd years. I've been in the NHS 35 years for my sins, but I've got a wider portfolio now within South Central and West Commissioning at support side, and I joined as a trustee of the HCSA in the summer. And I was asked before Christmas if I would join the network and be the link as a trustee to the network. So a pleasure to be doing that and feeding that back.
Thanks, Faye.
Thanks, Clara.
That's okay, thank you. So just to touch on other members within the committee membership before I talk you through the terms of reference. We have the committee chair, which we know is Tracy. We have a deputy committee position. We've got expressions of interest coming through. We have the corporate sponsor. That's to be agreed, but we will announce shortly. Obviously, myself as the executive sponsor, and then Trey as the trustee sponsor. Stakeholder membership. I think we have mentioned this on our social media campaign already, but this is open to all within NHS procurement and supply chain. And I'd actively encourage that we try and reach to our junior members as well. And this is open to all men and women. This isn't an exclusive ladies or women's club. So I shall kick off with our kind of strap line, which we have just covered as into some of those main themes. So our strap line is empowering change, connectivity, inclusion, opportunity, and diversity. And the themes which we just touched upon in the welcome, education, support, celebrate, and talent. And I'm sure you've heard, myself included, and other committee members about why we're doing this and what the benefits are and how we can support change and really drive and push forward the challenges that we still continue to see, and maybe those that are coming forward as new issues and or great things that are happening in our area. We're a committee that's formed by the HCSA to support, develop and help transform and address the challenges faced by women in procurement and supply chain within the NHS. Before I move on to the purpose and role of the committee, does anybody have any questions or comments? I've just realised we have nearly over 100 people on this call, which is great. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move on. So the purpose and role of the committee is to challenge and work to drive change which positively impacts the issues faced within procurement and supply chain. It's a platform to channel key messages to local, regional and national organisations relevant to the committee's aims and objectives. I'm just going to segue there. Tracy and I have met with some clinical women's networks too. So I think it's kind of think as a network and indeed within the committee and those who wish to join, how can we align ourselves with other women's networks within healthcare? We are here to help deliver patient care. I think there'll be many common themes that will cross over each organisations. identify new opportunities to support change and innovation. I think that'd be a really, really interesting area and focus for us. And it's an exchange of information, experiences, and lesson learned. And I mentioned in one of our committees during the last sort of 4 or 5 months, I want this to be a safe space for women and indeed men, and be able to feel that they can communicate and lean on us as support, and again support each other. Offering learning and development, so for example, women in leadership, how do we achieve leadership within NHS procurement and supply chain? I think my observations within my own team here at Royal Berks is we are massively underrepresented in the supply chain arm of our work. And again, I want to challenge that and offer that learning and support that I think we're still very much behind comparatively to other markets. The Women in Supply Chain Procurement and Supply Chain Network, we want to raise awareness and profile within NHS procurement and supply chain. And I fact actually think higher healthcare as a whole. We do great work here. And if you look at how we're represented, there's still a long way to go, sorry. But it's great to see so many people in this call. And maybe look at that sort of 30, 40 years ago, I think it would have been a very different story. And then again, how can we attract and support that new talent, both within our NHS, but also outside? And that's, I've mentioned this already, but recognising and upskilling current talent with the NHS. I will quickly skim over governance. We've used Teams to store all of our documentation, declarations of interest signed. We also obviously draft and communicate our meeting minutes, our objectives for the year. In terms of meetings and events, so the committee meeting takes place bi-monthly, and we report back to the HCSA executive. Then we have a biannual event. We're looking to do a biannual event with keynote speakers agreed on topics by the executive and indeed the committee and board. And then I believe we already have had hold our podcast, but we'll be holding regular podcasts with keynote speakers on agreed topics signed off by the committee and indeed the executive and board of trustees. So Tracy, would you like to add anything else, and or do we have any questions on the terms of reference, which I'm sure we'll be able to cascade and will be included in our website, I believe?
Yes. No, I think that once everyone's got sight of our new landing page in the HCSA website, you'll be able to access the terms of reference there. It's not cumbersome. It's fairly straightforward and short and brief, but it's quite important that we all understand what it is that we're trying to achieve. I think this network is an absolutely phenomenal opportunity for us to champion each other and growth and career enhancements and help guide those that are new to procurement, that are coming in at entry level. I'm very privileged to be mentoring a young lady within the Department of Health and Social Care, and I think she's on the call as well. And it's such a privilege to be able to share my Jurassic knowledge with the younger generations and the future leadership of the NHS. So it's absolutely amazing. I think as agents of positive change for everyone in the NHS, in procurement and supply chain, is an absolute privilege, and to be able to ensure that we have diversity and inclusion at the very heart of everything that we do within this network. That has to be important. And I also believe that we have to discuss the importance of men within our network, because we have to understand how they see women, how they engage with women day to day, either personally, professionally, and encourage that dialogue, because it's yin and yang. We don't want it to be a women's institute or a knitting club or knitting shreddies. We are a diverse organisation, so really excited about the future and what we can and can't achieve. I'm not going to say can't. I should take that out of my dialogue already.
Can I just add to that as well? We will be providing a platform for which members of the network can forward their thoughts and where they think we should focus on and or raise issues that they may personally be facing. We're going to lay out the terms of how we manage that and navigate that as well. But yeah, just to echo kind of Tracy's comments as well. This is really exciting, and it's nice to see finally something that's new to us, not new to us all perhaps, but as a national cohort of professionals with the NHS and procurement supply chain, we finally have got something that's landed. So I think it's great. I don't know if anyone else would like to make comment or add anything before we move to the next agenda item.
Don't see any hands popping up at this stage.
I'm actively encouraging questions.
Or suggestions, you know.
Or suggestions, yeah.
I think if you have any suggestions or you have any burning things that you'd like us to talk about in the future, bob them into the chat if you don't feel you want to chat to a sea full of beautiful faces that I can see. So that would be easier. If that's easier for you, we're happy to take that offline as well. Moving on to the inaugural launch, we have planned an event in May. We had a bit of a juggle around who's having half terms, but it would appear that we're going to miss the half term. So it's on the 25th of May. The venue is the Holiday Inn Regent's Park in London. And we are busy building the agenda. So we've got and secured some amazing keynote speakers. We have Dr. Sam Collins from Aspire. She is an equality advocate, a social entrepreneur, coach and author. She's dedicated her life to empowering women all over the world. She's the founder of Aspire for Equality, that's her business. And she leads a team that create events and programming designed to inspire individuals, organizations, and social change. She has today presented to over 16 million people in over 18 countries. So she's a really well-rounded, developed woman, and she's so enthusiastic to join us. She's very excited about the plans for the future for our network. We will also have Capsticks joining us to present on stage. I think we're going to be looking at something quite exciting and very interactive panel. So you're not being sort of spoken at. We're looking to try and get everyone involved and participate throughout the day. And we've also managed to get Jules Wyman to come and talk to us about confidence and what that means to people. You know, I often hear people saying, well, I don't have the confidence to do that. It's having the belief and believing that you can do whatever it is you wish to do, and trusting yourself, really. Trusting yourself that you can do things and you can build that confidence. We all have confidence somewhere. We've just left it somewhere, maybe in a box, and we've got to open those boxes and make sure that we're all very confident in what we can achieve. So the agenda is looking really exciting. Our themes for this particular event, we're looking at the imposter syndrome. I recall only last week saying to someone, you're a victim of imposter syndrome. And she turned around to me and said, what is that? I said, you're making people believe that you're not good enough, or you're qualified to do the job, but you're allowing people to make you feel that you're not actually qualified to do the job. She's a registered nurse of 40 years and suddenly is doubting herself. So we're going to look at what that looks like in reality in the coalface, back in our bases, and see how we can overcome that. And I think Sam is going to be amazing at helping us talk through that, as well as our other speakers, and helping us to start really thinking about our own qualities and how we can develop our own skills and confidence and getting out there and growing through your careers. So that's roughly what we are looking at for our event in May. So I'm hoping to be able to share more information with you throughout the coming weeks about firming up and additional things that we'll be planning to do on the day. So we will also be looking to have an evening together. So hopefully that will be a wonderful time to share stories from the day and share stories from your own work environments and challenges that you're all facing or potentially looking to help others overcome. And that's basically where we are heading with our event. Has anybody got any questions about that at all, or has anything they'd like to perhaps suggest that we do in addition to what we're doing in May? Keith, you're on mute.
There you go. I wasn't quick enough with my mouse taking my hand down and going off mute. I just building on that agenda point. I think I'd encourage everybody on the call, if you are aware of people that have done really good work in this area or could give a good case study or talk, I think that would be a really good topic to talk about on these calls or other events. So I would really encourage anybody to just reflect, think about who you know who could maybe support the agenda on the event on the 25th of May, or others that you think would bring a really good topic. I think that would be really good and help generate ideas in terms of the kind of speakers and content that might help you. That'd be really, really positive.
Thank you, Keith. Pierre.
Yeah, I guess I'd just love to hear from other people on the call about, you know, what sort of things they might like to see in events from a women's network. And maybe if we could just sort of hear from people around the room, you know, what's struck a chord with them about what you've described about the event, or, you know, how they might like to, you know, what other things they might like to see or what's on their mind. So I just wondered if maybe we could hear from some of our colleagues across the system.
That was, honestly, I didn't even prompt or prep Pierre for that. That segued us right into the next section of our meeting, and it's talking about themes for the year. And we want to hear from you guys what it is you think is you're really passionate about. What is it in your agenda that hasn't been addressed that we should be looking at? Because that's ultimately what we need. We need you all to be sharing with us where you're wanting us to head or what you would like to see happen. And I see we've got some hands up. Let me just check who's on. Louise Hillcoat, looks like you were number one.
Yeah, so I'm involved with the Women's Inclusive Network across Sopra Steria Group, and NHS SBS is a joint venture with Sopra Steria. So we've got quite a lot of activities going on. We call it Inclusive Network because, as Tracy said, we include men and we have male allies. But one of the things that we've found the most fruitful and informative is linking in with other women's networks across the public sector for us. So we've got a link into the Women's Defence Network and also to the police. And, you know, it's really, really interesting learning some of the experiences and initiatives and some of the speakers that we've had. We've been going for a couple of years now, and some of the speakers and motivational speakers have been really, really interesting and bring a very different professional perspective. So I'm very happy to share some of the activities that we've done.
Wonderful, thank you. Don't tell me that I'm going to be like a missile. You won't be able to get rid of me now. Sarah Hollyhead.
Yeah, hi everyone. For anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Sarah Hollyhead, Head of Procurement at Leicestershire Partnership Trust, and I'm chair of the Women's Network at my trust as well. So I just want to thank you all for bringing this network into reality, because it's something I've been shouting at for a long time when I was involved in HCSA as well. So thank you, and I'm really excited about the stuff that's coming along. There's just a couple of things I wanted to mention. I think with regards to the conference, it would be really great. I think a couple of people have already alluded to it, but having some real people with real stories about how they have got to where they are with the challenges that are associated with being a woman in a male-dominated world, but which it has been traditionally, and also with the fact that they have to manage many caring responsibilities and things. And these are the kind of things that come through our own women's network. And a couple of suggestions. We organised a week-long International Women's Day last year within our trust that was really successful. And we had this really good speaker. She was part of the England women's football team. And some of the stuff that she talked about was absolutely fantastic. So I could always try and get hold of her again if you ever wanted to include her in an event. Are we going to be doing anything for International Women's Day, which is coming up really quickly? That was another thing that I wanted to just raise. I'm in the midst of arranging it for our trust, so maybe there's some cross-working we could do. And for me, I think imposter syndrome and the gender pay gap, they're key issues, aren't they?
Yes.
And finally, is anybody watching Maternal on ITV at the moment? It is really pertinent to this, I think. It's more focused on doctors juggling with, female doctors juggling with working mothers as well, and it's really good. It's definitely worth a watch. So yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Sarah, just to add to your point, so we're looking at the stats of survivors and scrubs. That's the organisation I mentioned at the intro that we try and work in partnership with. That's really great suggestions, and absolutely we should work on the International Women's Day and see who we can work with across all other organisations. So yeah, thank you. It's great.
Thank you.
Munira.
Hi, I'm Munira and work with LPP. And this is absolutely brilliant to be a part of this and to see that there's a network like this. In terms of suggestions, I come from the local authority background, and there was a very good Future Leaders program that was available. And part of that, there was one-to-one mentoring scheme. So there would be a senior manager who would help and mentor. And I found that really, really useful. And I wondered if it could be added to the teams of things that you all are looking at to see whether this network could provide that sort of mentoring opportunity across the health sector as such. And it's just a suggestion.
Thank you. Mary.
Hi, thanks, Tracy. So for those of you.
Oh.
Sorry, I'm not on mute now. Can people hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry. Okay, so Mary Mundy, I'm a partner at the law firm Capsix, and I specialise in procurement. I just wanted to pick up on a point that Clara made earlier in terms of encouraging the next generation, because I know I've spoken to Clara and Tracy before about some events that I've been to, and they were specifically aimed at lawyers. Law is a very male-dominated profession still, so we're doing lots of work in that space in the legal profession. But I can honestly say hand in heart that I've literally had career defining moments that have helped me in my career, having gone to some of these women's network events, and someone mentioned kind of hearing stories, real stories from other people. And so I just would urge you, and I know you all will, to just encourage as many people as possible across your organisations to attend, because it really is incredible going to these networking events, hearing different speakers, and I think you can be amazed at things that can kind of opportunities that these things can present for people.
Definitely. Yeah, I thank you, Mary. And it's nice to hear more stories like that, and hopefully that when we progress with the network, we can continue and people can share those stories with the work we're doing with our sponsors, with our network, and fellow organisations. I'm not sure if anyone can see me, but I can't see anybody else.
You're in the dark. You're alone, because I can see everyone.
Great. It's my network then.
Okay. Pav.
Thank you. So I think as it's one of the first national networks, one of the things I think for me, which is an opportunity as well as a challenge, is to make sure that whatever we do, it filters down and is valuable for people locally. So I think it's just a point of awareness for us to make sure that we're thinking about that as we go with the events and other initiatives we might put in place. But yeah, and ask out to everyone in terms of what that might look like. And the other thing as well, as I have put it in the chat, but it's just for us to continue when we're referencing our allies such as men, to also make references to non-binary as well, so that we're fully inclusive.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to participate? Have anything they'd like to table? Sue Wareham.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to sort of explore the bit about the men area a bit, I suppose, really, because we're saying this is women in procurement, and this is absolutely no disrespect to Keith and Alan, obviously, who I know very well, but we're saying this is a women in procurement network, but it's open to men. So I think we just probably need to be a bit clearer about that and the clarity around that, I think, because, you know, as you say, no disrespect to them, but if we're saying it's a women's network and we want to encourage women and non-binary people on here, but then we're saying it's open to men as well. So I'm just not totally clear on that and what our remit is. We're saying it's a safe space. Is it? And, you know, I don't know what I'm saying really, but other than that, this is supposed to be about women in procurement, and, you know, where we're saying actually, you know, it's men are welcome.
Can I answer, and then Tracy or anyone else would like to come in? Sue, understood, and actually good question. Thank you for asking. So when I reference safe space, there are going to be discussions and issues that we as women don't feel we're able to talk to fellow men. So we are designing in a way a platform that members of the network can discuss issues that may be really, really difficult in a safe space. More to follow on that. I don't think we should segregate ourselves from men. There are many men out there that can support, you know, our themes, our education, and our focus of the year. That said, I think we play a really good role in educating men and others about the issues that we face, but let's take women's health, for example. I think that maybe a discussion and more discussion point, and let's firm that up and be clear about how we navigate that going forward with the committee. And Sue, please do share your thoughts if you've got any more on that, and we can report back at the next network meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it, you know, as I say, I think this is absolutely brilliant. You know, I've been, you know, as I sit in the mental health and community spaces, as people know, and are very vocal about that. I just think we just need to be clear to people what it is. And as you say, when men are interacting, and again, no offense to you guys, that, you know, where we're sitting in that space, I think. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. I saw, you know, I've seen all the stuff on Twitter. I think this is all great. But that was just my views, really.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. And Sue, like a really, really good, important conversation to have. So first of all, my reflection on that is we should be really proud to be a group of women in procurement, and we should not be shying away from that in any way, shape or form. We do work in a male-dominated profession, and I don't really have anything other to say that it is different, and it's certainly different at senior levels for women than it is for men. And so I don't think we should shy away from that as our experiences have shown us that. The second comment I would make is, having worked in this space for quite a number of years, I do not believe it's possible to achieve gender equality without the support and allyship of men. So even if we did everything that included working on ourselves and working on imposter syndrome, confidence, and all that sort of good stuff, gender equality will not be achieved without the involvement and support of our male colleagues. And so in order to do that, first of all, I think we've got to have the conversation. Second of all, we've got to be clear what it looks like, or, you know, what good looks like, and also what not so good looks like. And we need to work collaboratively with our colleagues across the whole of the system to sort of to demonstrate that. I also think this isn't just about saying, come along to a women's network and we include men just because, I don't know, we're somehow embarrassed that we shouldn't have a group of women who support each other and are allies for each other. So I think it's quite a complex issue, and one that we should continue to explore, but recognising that basically we won't achieve equality unless we've also got equality for men. And I've got lots of strong views about that as well. But, you know, let's keep the conversation going. But certainly I think we're a very proud group of women who work in a male-dominated profession, and we should not shy away from that.
Thank you, Pierre. Keith.
As a man, I kind of wanted to input into the topic, really. I thought so, because I think it's a really good discussion topic. So thanks for raising it and thanks for bringing it. And absolutely no offence taken. And I'm pretty certain Alan and Bruce would have the same view as I do, which is none taken. The whole point of the conversation. On a personal level, I'm a keen advocate of this, and I want to be involved because on a personal level, I want to learn, because I don't, I'm a man, I don't feel I necessarily understand some of the challenges and fully appreciate them. I do try and appreciate them. So I think we can make change that way. And I want to be an advocate of what we need to change in what we do as men to try and make that work. And I think Pav made a good point. It probably goes broader than that, isn't it? It's just not about men. It's a wider inclusion and diversity agenda as well. So I think I get the point, though. There was a conversation about safe space and where can you have a safe conversation where you're feeling when you're working with peers. So that's probably something we need to tackle. But on a personal level, I would encourage the group to consider trying to get as many men as you can involved and help them, because it is about changing our gender to change how we behave in the way that we work alongside that. So I'm pretty certain I don't get it all right, and I'm hoping I can learn a ton of things from this group and coming along to some of the events that you'll be putting on.
Thank you.
I still can't see everybody. It's really distracting doing this. Can I just add to that on a personal level? So my dad brought me up, and I think it's, Pia and Sue and everybody else completely agree with your comments. But it also be, for those women, particularly younger women who look at leadership, and just the general feedback, it'd be quite good for those men who feel they're in positions they need us to help them support, where they're raising in single parent homes, women and girls. I don't know, something to consider, but there's so many things we can cover here, but absolutely we'll get that covered up and ensure clarity in terms of what our roles are and what's our responsibilities, which is summarised in the terms of reference. But Tracy, it might be worth us actually detailing it out and then cascading to the team or the network.
Yeah. Right. I think, I think in today's world where we co-parent now, it's not all one person parenting. We've got to be mindful that, for instance, I had a colleague at the trust that I was working at, and he's a man, and when he asked to take up his responsibility and become the parent that stayed at home for the maternity leave, everyone looked at him as if he completely lost his mind. And I'm like, and there were lots of jibes and lots of guilt, putting him on a guilt trip. And I kind of sat there and went, he has as equally the right to take paternity leave for his children as his wife does for maternity leave. So, it works both ways. And I think flexible working, for mums and dads to come back to work after having children. So, there's challenges for men in our world as well. Rachel.
Yeah, hi, just reflecting and listening on what we're all saying here. I think just going back to Mary's point, having the courage to speak up and share your experiences, share what you've gone through in your career, how you've been supported, whether that's been by men or women. I've had, great advocates help me sort of lift me up and really be behind what I'm doing and supporting me. And I think that going back to that point around imposter syndrome, which it's great to hear that it's actually on the agenda for the event that you're talking about. I think linked to that, how you find your voice, how women find their voice, is something that comes up often when I talk with colleagues. Not everybody's comfortable in actually speaking publicly. They like to do things in different ways. So I think this group is a great forum to talk about that. Maybe people want to blog, maybe they don't want to come and talk openly about their experiences, but it's great to hear so many diverse views and opinions on here today. And Pia was absolutely spot on, thinking about how we have been supported, regardless of who that is, but also having that safe space is really important to us and something we should, really embrace and look to work on.
Yeah, I think the network will offer safe spaces. Not everybody wants to have their washing out on the line every day, all day. There will be some connections that we will all make across this network that you'll feel far more comfortable and confident to have those difficult and challenging conversations. And they may well not be within your own organisation. They may well be within this network. and no one will even know that you've had that conversation unless you want to divulge that. So there are safe spaces across the entire network here, and there's some amazing talent in this network, and there's some brilliant new entry-level talent coming through our organizations that we want to help you harness your knowledge base and to explore opportunities and to learn from others. And I think the best way to learn from anything, I've always said, you can talk about, for instance, patient safety. We can talk about patient safety from now until the cows come home. But unless you put a patient up on that stage who's been through it, come through it, had a most amazing experience and shares their real life stories, it doesn't kind of hit home. So that's what we really, really need to do, is to share our success stories, but also share the stories that weren't quite so successful, that we've had to fight through. And I'm almost certain a number of our leaders on this call have had some pretty challenging times across their careers. I know I have. I was in the private sector for quite some time. When you walk into an office at 20 years old, sitting behind your typewriter, which at that point was a golf ball, you know, one of those ding, 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 and then your boss sits on the desk and he's dictating letters to you, but he's spending more time looking down my cleavage than he is telling me that what he wants me to type. So there's a lot of those types of things that we've got to overcome and get over with, and share stories that we can help others with. And if it's very difficult for you to do it in this type of forum, there would be opportunities to have much smaller, perhaps coffee carousel chats that we would like to set up. I think that will be an opportunity to get smaller groups to do perhaps more intimate conversations. Do we have any other themes that we'd like to see happening across our network? If you don't have anything that's springing to mind, do reach out, or like I say, put it in the chat if you don't feel confident to share with us right now, or you can email any one of the HCSA committee and council members. We'd be happy to take your emails. Sarah.
Yeah, just one thing that does come out a little bit in our trust network is actually not about how we get on with men and how men affect our working relationship, but actually the judgment from woman to woman, because sometimes we've had to fight harder to get where we are, and sometimes there can be judgments made between women to women. Particularly, one of the key themes is those women that don't have children versus those women that have children. So that might be something that might be key to talk about, and it's something that we find ourselves talking about quite a bit.
Yes, good point. Clara.
Very quickly from me, there's a lot of questions in the chat and I'm trying to answer them and or give them a like, but I'm failing to keep up. So I think we just agree that we'll get all those questions answered and circulate to the group, including any suggestions and or concerns people may have. I don't think concerns at this point, but suggestions, questions.
Perfect. Anyone? Trying to watch the hands going up in the, I can't watch the hands and the chat. I know I'm multifaceted and can do many things, but juggling's not one of them. So if you do have themes that you'd like us to concentrate on or put onto the table, that would be absolutely amazing. So we're going to move, we've moved quite quickly through this agenda today. Clara, are we going to move to any other business?
Yes. I don't have the business to add, to be honest. So, Tracy, do you or anybody else like to raise any, carry on the discussion? Oh, we have a hand up. I can't see.
Hiya, I'm Dilek and I work with Manira and NHS LPP. My only thing is I've just tried to register a couple of times, so I'm not sure if it works or doesn't. I've tried on Google Chrome and Edge.
Register for the HCSA?
Yeah, for the members.
Okay, why don't you
Tracy, Clara, so when you register, we have to do a check just to make sure you're an NHS employee and et cetera, et cetera. So you're, I've forgotten your name, sorry. Dilek, it may take a little bit of time. You should get a confirmation back that it's been registered and approved. Bruce, could we just keep an eye out for that and double check?
Yeah, I'll get it straight away.
It'll take give it sort of a few hours just to register through the system if you can.
No, I'll do it right now.
There you go, Bruce.
Thank you.
I will do it as we speak.
Thank you.
While you're doing that, why don't you lift up the page and we can show our network what our new page is starting to look like.
I mean,
Nicola.
to be honest with you, it's the landing page I've sent the link to, because it's a scroll down. You're best just to look at it. It's all the information that's on there. So at the moment, the easiest thing to do is literally just to go to the link that I've put in chat. And I've presented it as a scroll down rather than sort of clicking through the various different bits, just because that's just sort of, sort of preferred way to do it now. So yeah, I'll just advise people to look at it. And if there's any conversation or anybody has any ideas about what should be added to the page, then just put it in the WhatsApp group if you're in it, or if not, just circulate it on email or email me directly, but including Clara and Tracy in that chain.
Right.
So I've updated all of the registrations. There's none on the site, so they're all done.
Thank you. Nicola.
Yeah, I think just coming back to the International Women's Day, I'm just wondering, while we've got such a group of amazing women on the call, obviously we've not sorted out what the plans look like for that, but is it a good thing to ask if anybody would like to share their stories, and we can start collating some of those names and stories now whilst we've got everybody on the call? And where would we ask people to contact and drop the names into, I suppose, is the question.
Good. I think probably at this stage, Mel, I'm leaning to yourself.
Mel, you've been volunteered to collate.
I think if there are things that you'd like us to collate, I think probably one point of collection is best. Yeah. Would that be okay?
Yes, of course. If you send stuff to me, then I can put it all together and send it back out.
Perfect.
Brilliant. So I think if anybody's got a story that they would like to share, I mean, obviously we need to work out what the plans look like and what the format looks like and everything. But if you've got stories that you would like to share, either for International Women's Day and or for the event, it'd be great to start collating those ideas together.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it was last year, NHS England did a really nice piece of celebrating people in commercial and procurement actually across NHS England in celebration of International Women's Day, and they use that in their social media campaigns on the day for Twitter and LinkedIn. So maybe we could work towards having something similar, which sort of profiled women in procurement through the HCSA social media outlets as we approach International Women's Day, just as a nice addition to the celebrations.
Great. Sounds amazing. Pav.
Yeah, just to add, I think that's a great idea, and but there's lots of very senior, I think, women on the call, so it'd be really nice to get some profiles celebrating women in procurement in different roles, perhaps even in supply chain.
Yes, I think so. I'm leaning to the supply chain colleagues on the call. Amazing. I think I don't know if I was quite taken aback or absolutely in awe when I visited a North East Trust recently to find that one of my long-standing colleagues had grown through the ranks and was heading up the supply chain team. It was just unbelievable. There had always been a man in that job for as long as I can remember. And it was really nice to see her with her sleeves rolled up in amongst it and doing a fantastic job. So that was very, very sort of rewarding to see that change can be slow, but as long as it's coming, it's good. I think that, does anyone have, Sarah, sorry, I didn't see your hand there.
No, it's okay. Just one last thought building on that, because you're right, there's so many amazing women in this forum at the moment, and we are within the trust, we are developing a human library of sort of biographies of the women and what kind of experiences they've had, and then it acts as almost like a mentoring library, so that if more junior staff are struggling with a particular issue, they can go to the human library and find someone to mentor them through that. So that would be quite a good female, women focused idea if that was something we could do as within the procurement network.
That's a brilliant, absolutely brilliant, I think.
It's working really well. Yeah, it's really good. Human library sounds a little bit human trafficking type, but I promise it's really legitimate and a very good thought.
I had images of humans lying in a bookshelf somewhere. That's what flashes through your head. But I mean, I think it's amazing. I think it's fantastic. And at least that way that, people can find the right skill sets and person to help them. I think it's amazing. Anyone else? I think it's been an absolutely amazing session. I'm blown away with the support, and absolutely, you can't even read my writing. I've been scribbling down everything just in case I miss anything. I don't even know if I can decipher it, but I'm going to have to remember to do it straight after this call, because there's just so many great ideas. Like I say, we've got, to bring anything to life, it has to be experiences and your personal stories. So it would be amazing if you would share those with us, if you feel you are able to, and we can start building our network, and people can start to relate to those stories and help them get over that. So I think that's absolutely outstanding. Clara. I'm not sure if Clara's still on the call. I know that she had a rather pressing issue to attend to at 2:30. So with that in mind, I wonder if Mr. Rowley would like to close off for us.
I'm glad you did it now. I was just about to type a text and I've got to drop off. Fantastic discussion. Thanks for allowing me to participate, and thanks for tackling some of the difficult conversation with some men in the room as well. So I appreciate that. A ton of ideas, which is amazing, and I think that's going to really help us do it. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do all of them in one go, I suspect, but we need to probably work out what we can do to take some of the steps on that. And I'll look forward to picking up with yourself, Tracy and Clara, on what team we need, support we need from the exec and the business support team to help you do it. But you've got some of those people in the group, as you mentioned, through Bruce and Kath. So yeah, looking forward to the event on the 25th, and yeah, and more of these kind of discussions. So great to see so many people on the call having this kind of discussion.
Can I just like quickly that
sorry.
Sorry, Clara, did you want to go?
That's right. No, you go first, Bruce, and go after.
Just to reiterate, the landing page is there. The link will be going out in the newsletter, on the WhatsApps, on the chat here. Just to reiterate, if there's anything in particular you want added to that, whatever it may be, or any ideas, please make sure you circulate them, and then I can address that.
Thank you. Clara.
I was just about to leave and say goodbye, and then I think you heard me. Just also wanted to kind of echo Keith and Kath. Sorry. Oh my God, Tracy, I forgot your name, so I'm rushing around. Your thanks. It's been really great, and it's so encouraging. TC, yeah. So I've just run across the trust. It's really great to see so many people in this network on our first launch, and just wanted to say like personal thanks from myself and the rest of the committee. I'm really looking forward to working with you all, and I think we can make a really positive impact and change going forward, and looking forward to seeing you on the 25th as well. It'd be great.
Yes. So thank you everyone for participating and joining us today. Have a fabulous weekend. I know I'm going to be celebrating the launch of this amazing network with such amazing people. So thank you very much, everybody, and really looking forward to working with you all going forward. Can't wait to see what our human library is going to look like. It's going to be so fantastic. So see you all soon, and thank you again.
Thank you.